If you've ever felt the magnetic power of your energy, but you couldn't understand why people kept trying to take it from you, you're not alone. When you attract all of your soul's desires, you can also attract some people who are just there and are just intending to manipulate you however they can because they see how powerful you are and they kind of want a piece of that themselves. And your ability to effortlessly receive everything that you need is something that can almost offend others, where, almost to the point where they want to take your gifts as their gain. So today I'm going to be honest with you guys about the dark side of having a powerful energy. And by dark side, I mean more so the way that people can treat you, the way that they can try to see what they can take from you and manipulate you in different ways for their gain, because sometimes when others see our bright light, it can bring out their darkness. And yes, we all have different parts, light and dark, within us, but it really matters what part we choose to act on and what part we really choose to focus on throughout our everyday lives. That's why I feel like it is so important to recognize this hard part while also not letting it take control of your energy. And in helping you recognize that, I'm also going to give you guys my tips for protecting your energy, standing up for yourself, setting boundaries, and communicating with people, and then also being selective of where your energy goes. But before we get more into that today, hey there, I'm Julia, and I guide others here to live more in their authenticity. And actually in last Monday's video, I talked about being able to harness your energy so you can better attract and magnetize those things that you really, really desire, and you like the things that that you possess inside of yourself, and how to bring those into the 3D basically. But at the core of that is knowing who you are authentically, because anybody can really do that. Anybody can develop a magnetic, energy, and to really just have a control over their energy. But it really does take knowing who you are and also where you want to put your energy at the end of the day. And again, that is the core of being magnetic, knowing who you are, what you want, and what you value. Because having a magnetic energy can bring you all those things that you do want and some of the things that you don't want, like the people who kind of just want to take from you. And part of being magnetic means knowing when to keep those things that align with you in your life and to remove the things that don't, and sticking firm in those decisions. And if you want to better understand what aligns with you by learning more about your intuition, then I made a video for you. You can watch that up here. Because knowing what aligns with you and knowing what feels authentic and where your energy should be placed is, a core of understanding your magnetism and just understanding what you are capable of at the very basic level. So when you're in a situation that doesn't feel right to you, you know when to leave, you know when to, place those boundaries, when to speak up, and when to remove yourself from the situation. And some of these situations can include being around people who see how radiant you are and see how powerful your energy is. They can really feel that. And one, they can be inspired by that to be more like you and to, have a similar radiant energy. Or two, people can be a little bit intimidated by that and want to bring you down. Even if you're unaware of your energy, sometimes people can see that and try to take it from you because they see something that you have that they might be lacking, and they can then in turn sometimes act out of their jealousy. That is why I say it's vital to recognize and understand your own energy so that you can appreciate who you are and not allow anybody to bring you down at all. Another aspect of the dark side of being magnetic is that people can think that, since you still carry that positive energy and that you didn't really become what hurt you, that you might not have actually been through difficult times, which is wild because I feel like those difficult times can really shape you to be more of a kind person, to have more understanding and empathy. But, sometimes people can mistake your ability to stay kind through the challenges to mean that you haven't experienced any adversity. So since you're not wearing your armor, they might not think you've been through war. And by thinking that your happiness equals naivety, they can try to manipulate you in different situations and in different ways to see how much they can take and how much they can get away with. And little do they know that being authentic and knowing yourself means that you can stop them dead in their tracks. You can spot that head on and, get rid of it before it gets very far. Because when you know yourself and recognize your own patterns, you can recognize those patterns in others as well. And seeing those patterns and behaviors in others allows you the recognition, since you could have been in a similar situation, when you maybe acted out of jealousy, you can see somebody doing the same thing and you can shut that down. You can remove yourself from the situation and do whatever you feel is necessary to protect yourself, basically. Although it might scare some people and make them uncomfortable with recognizing and acknowledging their intentions in the situation, the right people are going to take that as a way to grow. And even when you're inspiring others in this way, and you might want to help them and help them heal on their journey with the knowledge that you have and all of your experiences, you still have the right to protect your energy and to set boundaries wherever necessary. You can protect your energy by being aware of your emotions and knowing what you are putting out into the energy, the environment around you. And by having that recognition of your own feelings, you can recognize when a feeling isn't yours and when it's somebody else's. Like if you are just going through your day and all of a sudden you are angry, you're irritated out of nowhere, and there's not really a reasoning behind it that you can't find, then that's probably somebody else's energy. So to protect yourself, you can actually say out loud, this is sometimes something that I do, is that I send any energy that is not mine back to sender, and then to get back into the energy that you were just previously in. That way you can focus more on your energy and then also to remove anything that is not yours. And a way to protect your energy before it is being affected by anybody else is to sort of set like a baseline mood for yourself to go throughout your day. And this is especially when you're in public so that you can keep your feelings in check, your mood in check. And I find that having like a sort of face and an expression that I put on when I'm in public allows me to control my energy and then also know that everything I'm putting out is going to return to me. And I find that having a baseline, like a go-to face when I'm out in public, is something that really allows me to control my emotions, honestly, and then to also keep me in my own energy. And I feel like when you're doing that, that is also another way to manifest because all of the energy that you are putting out there, you're going to receive. So when I'm in public, for example, I like to keep a smile on my face, just like a soft expression where I keep myself very calm. I keep myself very in check, like I said, with my emotions, and I'm really in control of them. And, I smile at people when I can, whenever I see somebody, even if they don't really have a smile on their face. Sometimes you don't know when somebody just needs to be smiled at and when somebody needs a little bit of kindness. And I know that, all of that energy that I'm putting out, that is going to be received and presented back to me. And sometimes that's in the way of like people will hold doors open for me. Sometimes people will pay for me. They will give me the last of something. I will get things for free. Like last week, I had ordered a sandwich at Panera and I was looking in the bag before I left, and my sides weren't in there, the chips weren't in there. So I went back, I thanked them again, for making the food, because every time I go to Panera, I always thank them. Um, and I let them know the chips weren't in there, and they gave me 2 bags of chips. So I got one for free. And I just knew that, all of that energy, all of that kindness that I was putting out there, that was returned back to me in a free bag of chips. So just to recap, you can protect your energy by embodying only what belongs to you. Number one, practicing responding instead of reacting. And again, being in that baseline mode where you are in control of your energy. And number three, monitoring your feelings at the same time. So you are just, in control of yourself. You can't really control anybody else, but you control how you react, how you respond to things, and moving accordingly. And there are sometimes situations, when we're in public, when we're in private, where we need to stand up for ourselves and we need to really understand our emotions and how we want to react. And my tips for that is to, politely tell the other person how you're feeling, and do it in a way where you are using those I statements. I remember a few years ago, a therapist actually told this to me, and I've been using it ever since. I just feel like it's so helpful because it really takes away the responsibility from the other person and from yourself. And it really is just an expression of you in order to, sort of get to the root of the issue together. You're not really pinning each other, pinning yourselves against each other. So if you're in a position, in a situation where you feel, used or unappreciated, tell the other person how you are feeling and how you want to move forward in that situation, because usually the other person doesn't really understand or fully know what they're doing. They don't really know how they are treating you. But if you're in a situation where, you are expressing yourself, the person doesn't really care and they know what they are doing, you hold the right and you reserve the right to remove yourself from that situation. You can speak up in whatever context and at whatever capacity you feel is right. But if you are in a situation, you just know that and you can sense that you're not really getting anywhere, you're not really making any progress with this person, you can remove yourself. Sometimes when it calls for it, I feel like the best thing that you can do is respectfully remove yourself and let the other person be, especially when they're sometimes trying purposefully not to understand you, not really having an open mind. So it really takes understanding the situation, understanding yourself, and also your relationship with this person to figure out if it's worth it or not. But no matter the case, remember that you have the power to leave any situation that isn't healthy for you, and you can remove your energy from where you don't want it to be and to put it towards people and situations that are fulfilling to you. And by standing up for yourself, you can then decide and be selective about where your energy goes. If the people around you don't value you, whether it's in a work situation, a relationship, a family dynamic, or any type of relationship at all, you have the power to remove yourself from that situation. And at the end of the day, you decide where your energy goes. You decide what is worth it or not, and who you should help and at what capacity, and also what boundaries you need to place and with whom, and again, at what capacity, at what level. And understanding the darker side of being magnetic and having that radiant energy is so important in knowing just where your energy should go. And it doesn't mean that, the person may be taking advantage of you or, just not really recognizing what they're doing and what their intentions are. It doesn't mean that that person is inherently a terrible person. It just means that they might not be around you and that might not be somebody that you want to have in your life. Again, at whatever capacity, whatever the situation is. So remember to keep shining your light bright, keep being yourself, keep being authentic, and recognizing your power, sitting in your power every single day, and don't let that darkness overtake you. Again, like I said at the beginning, we have that light and dark within each of us, but it really matters what we choose to act on every single day. So I hope this was helpful in recognizing your energy so you can then set those boundaries and make aligned decisions for yourself. And if you feel called to, if you enjoyed it and if this resonated, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, share this with a friend who might need it, because I am here every single day giving my advice, giving my insight and my experiences, and living as your most authentic self. And again, also living in your energy as genuine as it feels for you. So I hope I see you next time, but if not, bye for now.